Thorn licked his parched lips as he sat waiting for the plague-infested demons to appear on the horizon. The foul stench of the enemy forewarned Doran of the enemy's approach. Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Obsidian Anubis, and I'm back with another 9th Age battle report. This time, the Pale Company versus Demonic Legions. And this is it, Game 5 of the OFCC, which is a tournament we had a month ago now, back in the end of July. And so, let's go ahead and meet up against the Plague Demonic Legions. So on the far left, my opponent had 5 Pestilence Beasts, greatly painted models. Next to that is a group of 5 Blight Flies, also greatly painted. In the center, he had 30 Tallymen with a Harbinging of Pestilence, which is the one on the front left, who is also his BSB, I believe. And then that large green monster is a Demonic Engine, and then next to that is a Father of Pestilence. And that's it. That's my opponent's army. It is very compact, very well painted, and yeah, let's go ahead and look at mine. So I do have a Brush and Fluff video number 7, which goes into more detail of my list, but just to give you a quick overview. So on the far right of this picture, which is actually outside of this picture, I have the Pale Riders, which are just 5 knights. I have the Grave Diggers, which are just 20 heavy infantry in front of the Banshee's Wail. To the left of them, I have the Hunters and the unlucky 13th cohort, which is 48 halberdiers with full command. With them, I have 2 characters. I have Radar the Raven. He is a Inquisitor with the Axe of Battle, and Barrack the Grim. He is a Martial BSB. To the left of that, I have Gillian and Ullr's Coach. Gillian is a Wizard Master who knows 3 spells of Divination, and then Ullr's Coach is an Arcane Engine. And then over here on my left flank, I have the Followers of Ullr, which is 23 Flagellants, in front of my Siren Screen Cannon. Next to them is the Knights of the Sacred Scythe, which are the upgraded knights, and with them I have my General, Father York Doran. He is a Prelate with the Blessed Sword. And then on the far left, I have my Ghost Shadows. So my opponent, I think, dropped first, so I think he went first, and he moved up, as you can see here. And then over here on the left side, so I managed to vanguard my readers so they were possibly threatening to get behind his flank, so he just kind of moved his beast to turn so he couldn't quite, so that I couldn't get behind him. So that brings it to Pale Company turn 1. So I attempted a long ball charge with my knights into the Blight Flies and rolled terrible and ended up moving like 2 or 3 inches forward. And then you can see I moved up my Hunters and my Followers of Ullr up. In shooting, my mortar hit the Tallymen, which you can see here, and peeled off 5 or 6 Tallymen. My cannon shot at, I think, the Demonic Engine, and I think I hit him this turn, but he passed his ward save, so no damage. Alright, and other than that, I didn't really move much. So that brings us to Demonic Legion's turn 2. So my opponent charged the Tallymen into my Hunters, who stand and shot and then will probably get wiped out. And then he attempted to charge his Blight Flies into my Knights, and he also failed that charge, so we are both kind of just stumbling forward on charges. The rest of his lines just kind of moved up, as you can see here. So he kind of gave up on my readers on the far left and started moving his beasts a little bit closer, so that way if I charged his Blight Flies, he could get a counter charge into the flank of my Knights. In Magic, his Father of Pestilence, who also is a level 4 Divination, used Unerring Strike and wiped out my 5 Pale Riders on the far right of this picture. So this is before combat, and this is after combat. Yeah, as you can imagine, I think my archers maybe killed 1 if I was lucky, but otherwise they just got wiped out, and then my opponent overran into my Followers of Ullr. I would have preferred to get them into either the Pestilence Engine or the Father of Pestilence. I think the halberds would, the flails would do more damage against them, but I guess this is where they'll end up. So that brings us to Pale Company turn 2. So this time I finally did succeed in my charge and charge my knights into the Blight Flies. I also sacrificed my readers to chaff up the Plague Beasts. And then over here on the right, I just continued to shoot at the Demon Engine and the Father of Pestilence. I think in this turn, though, you can see there's like a little icon behind the Father of Pestilence. I think I did manage to wound the Father of Pestilence and put like a wound or so on him. In Magic Phase, I got off the Stars Align on my Flagellants, giving them reroll to hit. I put off about a rank of my opponent. He killed about a rank of me. I won combat, and then I moved more flagellants out so more of them could make it in combat. With the knights, it was kind of a flub fest. I think I killed one blatefly and put a wound on another, and in return, my opponent only managed to kill one of my knights. He rolled really low on his stability check and didn't take any more damage. So it's probably a good thing that I ended up sacrificing my knights here to not get countercharged. So that brings us to Demonic Legion's turn 3. So he just kind of turned his Demonic engine around to face if my knights get past his blateflies. I'm kind of moving his general around to hide next to there and possibly get a countercharge on my flagellants. Going into combat, the blateflies, this time they did quite well. They managed to kill 5 of my knights. In return, I only managed to kill 1 blatefly. I think I lost combat, but I did manage to hold. And then you can see with the flagellants and the Taliban, again, I put off about a rank. My opponent killed off a couple more, and we're still locked in fight there. As you can imagine, over here on the left side, my opponent easily managed to kill my readers. I think 2 of them survived, and I think he killed 3 of them, or he might have killed all 4 and 1 survived. Either or, a couple survived. I fled. He decided not to chase, and yeah, that's how that ended up. So this is actually Pale Company turn 4 or turn 3. So I moved up my Arcane Engine closer behind the flagellants, and then over here on the left side, yeah. So like I said, I think I had 3 guys who survived, and then I re-chaffed up after I had fled and rallied and moved back into chaff, so he couldn't charge my knights. This picture is actually taken out of context, so this is after combat. So he charged in again and killed 2 more. So I had 1 left who again ran away, I think. In Magic Phase, I had a fairly good Magic Phase. You can see I got Scrying off, I got the Stars Line off, so quite good for Magic. And with the Magic, I did manage to finally kill off those blateflies and kind of reformed, as you can see, like that, and then killed off some more Taliban. Alright, so then it comes to Demonic Legion's turn 4. So my opponent charged, I think, the Demonic Engine into my knights who fled and got away. And then he charged his Father of Pestilence into my flagellants with what's left of the Taliban. This picture is taken before combat. After combat, my flagellants did manage to kill the rest of the Taliban, put a wound on his BSB, and I don't know if they put a couple more wounds on the my opponent's Father of Pestilence, or if all those had come from the cannon and mortar. I don't remember. But either way, he killed those, and then he overran into my Arcane Engine, which I had kind of stupidly placed right behind my flagellants. You also notice, go back a picture, that there's a large unit of Halberdiers missing. Yeah, so I had a unit break within 6 inches, and I failed both of my panic tests to hold. I had 3 dice since I had my Marshal in there, and I had a BSB, so I think the first time I rolled an 11, I think the second time I rolled a 10, and my leadership was only 9, so they fled. So that was a game changer right there. I think if they would have stood, this game would have completely changed differently, but as it is, they ended up probably being the smarter Empire soldiers and running out of it. So that brings us to Pale Company turn 4. So I rallied my knights on the far left and just kind of pivoted my gravediggers around. In close combat, my opponent easily managed to wipe out my wizard and then overran into my cannon, as you can see here. And then, yes, that was my turn that he ended up doing that. So on his turn, Demonic Legion's turn 5, he charged his Harbinger and the beasts into my knights. I think he attempted to charge his engine into my gravediggers and failed, or he just turned around. I don't remember which one. In close combat over here, I did manage to get a few spells off before my Arcane Engine got wiped out, so this unit was pretty buffed up. I ended up putting a couple wounds on the Pestilence Beasts, and I don't think I put any more wounds on the BSB, you can imagine that the Pestilence, Father Pestilence easily wiped out my cannon and reformed so he could face my knights. And then after combat, I only had one knight and my general left. So this is what it looks like at the end of Demonic Legion Turn 5. I think my opponent just kind of whiffed with his knights and didn't manage to, or with his Pestilence piece and didn't manage to kill any more of my knights. And then my general is in a challenge with his Harbinger, who both kind of fluffed at each other as well. So in Pale Company Turn 5, I elected to choose the Cowardly part of Valor and turn tail and run with my Gravediggers. And then that brings us to Demonic Legion Turn 5, or Pale Company Turn 5. Sorry, this is the second half of the turn. And then in close combat, my Knight and my General both got wiped out by the Pestilence Beasts and the Tallyman. So I got tabled. So it ended up being a 19-1. I did cause enough damage that I managed to get a few points out of my opponent. You can see I ended up putting 4 wounds on the general, my opponent's general, and 3 wounds on the Arcane Engine. I think if I would have targeted my cannon and my mortar both at the Father Pestilence every turn instead of kind of flip-flopping between the engine and the Father Pestilence, I might have done better. But my opponent was rolling really well for his saves. He kept rolling his 5-up board saves or 4-up board saves. And my Halberdiers breaking from that panic chest was really disappointing. If they also would have stood, I think I would have been able to countercharge his Father Pestilence and just break him through sheer combat res, because my Halberdiers have a lot of combat res in the army. But as it turned out, they ended up running, and so it ended up being a 19-1. So overall, throughout the tournament, I had 2 overwhelming defeats, both 19-1s. My very first game against Vampire Counts, and then this very last game against this fantastic Demonic Legion player. And then in the center, I had 3 minor victories, like a 12, a 14, and a 16 against Scion Ancients and Dread Elves. So overall, it was a really fun tournament. I enjoyed playing every opponent. I enjoyed playing every army. It was fantastic. While my army may not have done as great as I would have liked, I've had a fantastic time playing it, and I'll probably be playing Empire again for a while, although I may turn back to my Orcs and Goblins, so we'll see. But it was a fantastic game. If you guys saw anything that you would like questions about, or if you have any questions, put those in the comment section below. This is the last battle for the tournament, so I'll probably be posting regular battle reports again with just me and my regular opponent. So if you guys have anything that you'd like to see there, you can put those in the section below. As always, hit like and subscribe, and as always, game on!